On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. What we do is look at the historical returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, and we project ahead what it might do in the future, which gives us a wide range, but we love to run numbers for people. I just got this request. Somebody said they currently have 150,000 saved up in their retirement account. 150,000. Said they can give 26,000 annually, which I think that's approximately 2,100. We always go the monthly amount. So if you can give me the monthly amount, that really helps when I run the numbers. So we want to, and also increase that by, initially we're not going to increase it at all. We're just going to go ahead and run the numbers with this scenario. And we want to, let's see here. Here's his basic question. He says, he wants to know if he can reach an amount in 21 years, so he'd have a large enough nest egg to be able to withdraw 100,000 a year. So that's what we want to do. We want to run the numbers and see where it might be in all the different cases for the last 100 years. And he says 20 years, so we're going to be looking at the 20-year column. He actually said 21 years. So over the 20-year period with these numbers, starting with 150,000, putting in 2150 a month, and looks like the worst 20-year period, last 100 years. I hesitate to do it for just 20 years, but he wanted me to run the numbers. So the worst case scenario, you're going to see $1.306 million. The median being 2.895. That's a huge spread, and of course the maximum would be 8 million, and that's for 20 years. So 21 years, I'm just going to look at the 21-year cut, 1.813, and that's for what year? That's for 1924. I'm hesitant to just do 20 years. He said 21, but I am going to stick with this 1.306. And what we do is we go over to the withdrawal stage now. 1.306. 306,000, $1 million. He wants to take out basically 8,000 a month, which is actually 8250 would be 99,000. Now I see a problem right away. That withdrawal rate would be 7.58. Okay, so he's going to run into problems because that's getting close to the Dave Ramsey 8%, which we've got other videos on, which I'll link to. You really need this to be around 4%. But I also want you to realize if you take a 70-30 split, so when the market's going down, the money's coming out of the cash reserve account rather than the S&P 500. It'd help you out a little bit. I'll just go ahead and run the numbers for you and show you how many times the last 100 years you'd run out of money. And like I said, this 7.58 really concerns me. It looks like 8 times you'd run out of money in the last 100 years. If you didn't do the 70-30 split, again, that's what we like to do, just run all kinds of different numbers for people. Didn't do the 70-30 split, it'd still be 8. Okay, let's go back to the 70-30 split. And I want to do one other thing here, just to show you how we can run numbers, different numbers for you. We were running it at 1,306,000. Remember, that was the worst case scenario. So in that case, given the numbers we ran, 8 times the last 100 years, you would run out of money, which isn't that bad. It'd be the Depression years and the years 2000. We've run this many times on videos showing that these are the 2 problem areas, the Depression years, and people say, well, don't worry about the Depression years. But we also want to look at the year 2000. And so in the year 2000, given this scenario, taking out 7.58%, you do run out of money if we have returns like 2000. Why? Because you had 3 down years. We've seen in other videos, and I highly encourage you to check on some of these other videos. We go in a lot more detail. When you start getting like 4 down years in a row, 3 down years in a row, and especially these 3 down years right here, you're very possibly going to run out of money when you're withdrawing close to 8%, even 7%. You need to stay closer to the 4% rule. Sometimes even these 2 down years. So when you have consecutive years, it really hurts you. Even some of these 2 consecutive years right now, right there in 73 and 74, you run out of money. But I want you to also realize we took the absolute worst case scenario. We did it after 20 years. What if we take the median? I'm going to put 2.9 million in here. That's going to totally change the picture. Again, that's the median amount, 2.9 million. And all of a sudden, if you look at this, you're way below the 4% rule. If I update this, you're not going to have any issues at all. 4% is a safe withdrawal rate. 5% is not too bad, but you notice if we did the median of what you would have accumulated in the saving year, you could easily have this, took the median right here, you would easily have enough money to withdraw 100,000 a year. Oh, we weren't using a COLA. You got to be fair here. Inflation COLA, because you want to start out with the 8250 and move on. Let's see if that makes any difference. No, it doesn't, because you've got, when you're only taking out 3.41% as opposed to this 1.306 million, that's when you run into problems. But again, that was in the worst case scenario in the last 100 years. Taking out 7.58, that's when you run out of money. But again, if you go back to the saving, how many times did you only get 1.306 accumulated in 20 years? Just once. Some of these other ones were close to that, 1.468, but lots of times you were in the 2 to 4 million category. And then you can see in the withdrawal stage, you could easily do that. Again, the 2.9 million, let's just do 2 million and see how that makes a difference. Okay, that's a 5%, almost a 5% withdrawal rate. So let's go ahead and update this, see how many times you might have had problems in the last 100 years. Again, we're projecting ahead what the market S&P might do, and then you only run out of money 3 times. So it looks like the 2 million is fine, which most of the time you're over 2 million in this 20-year column. Hopefully this makes sense to you. That's what we do. We run numbers for people. And this person asked me to run these numbers, so I did that. If we would just increase that a little bit, that would even help even more. Let's just do that real quick. Let's increase it by 3%, 2150 the first year, 2215, and see how much this minimum changes, because that would affect how much you could withdraw also. 1.306 million, that would be 1.486 million. You see what we're doing here? Let's change this to 1.486 million. Get me started and I can't stop. I just love running numbers. I'm going to update this. Staying with the 99,000 or 100,000, increasing that by 3% a year. Yeah, let's go back here and update this. I'm going to leave it all in the S&P 500. And there's a reason why I'm doing that. Well, you still got 14. So yeah, it looks like you got a problem with 1.486 because this withdrawal rate is just too high. You need to stay close to the 4% rule. Anyway, I ran this a little bit longer in normal videos, but that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers both on the saving end of it, the accumulation stage, and then the withdrawal stage. And he wanted to know if he would have enough, given putting in that 26,000 a year. And we saw that it would fall short sometimes. Many times it'd be just fine, but there'd be a few times where we wouldn't have enough to be able to withdraw 100,000 a year. Again, that's what we do on this channel. I love running numbers for people. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with people. Let them know there's a channel out there that will run numbers and look at all kinds of different scenarios so they can kind of project ahead what they might have in the future and whether that'll be enough for them to retire. So please like, share, and thanks for watching.